All right, you guys, we be live. Let me get on our speaky view. There we go. Well, friends, a thing that we're doing tonight is we are spotlighting a book, okay? We're spotlighting an amazing book that's called The Truth About Success. The reason that we're spotlighting this, you guys, is because this is a lot of my students in this book. But what people need to hear about is they need to hear about the fact that success is never just an overnight accidental, this is amazing. I can't believe I got so successful in just 24 hours, right? It's never like that. And a lot of times it looks like a lot of struggle. And a lot of times it looks like working and grinding and not really knowing if it's ever going to come, but staying with it long enough for it to finally be able to hit. And then sometimes success doesn't even look like what maybe you thought success was going to be. Maybe it actually looks completely different. And so that's what we're going to be talking tonight about. So Megan Larson is the ringleader of the book. Okay, guys. So Megan, go ahead and share with us what your vision was for this book and what you really see people taking away from this book.
Yeah, I would love to. So my initial vision for the book was really, I wanted to write a book about what success meant to me. And really it took a long time to get any measure of success. And I remember being that person at those business seminars, looking at these people who seem to have overnight success and wondering what in the world is wrong with me and why can't I be that person? And then after 13 years of failure, I finally stumbled upon you and was able to get to a place where I feel like I am successful. And, my husband is home full time. I can spend as much time with my kids as I want to. Like, I get to do what I want and live from a place of just passion and purpose. And so when I thought of writing this book, I wanted to talk about what the real change in me was, which was really transforming from not believing in myself to believing in myself. And that was the key to everything. But I also wanted to get other people's perspectives. I wanted to have a book that just encompassed like what success meant to different people in different areas of life. Because we all go through struggles in every area of life. And so I really wanted to like gather together a bunch of overcomers who had struggled in an area and then gone through and succeeded. And so it didn't matter to me what that area was. It didn't have to be business. It could be parenting, it could be marriage, it could be anything. I just wanted people to come away after reading this book feeling like they could overcome whatever it was that they were facing. So that was really my vision, was just to inspire people.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. That's what we live for, you guys. It's what we live for. This is it. This book is it. So now I'm going to open it up because we have all of the co-authors of this book, all of the people that have added their own stories into the book. You don't see them right now, but they're all here. Actually, let me change the view for just a second. And they're on a couple pages, but here they are. This is all of them. Let me go to the second page. There we go, you guys. This is everybody. This is what we're doing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it back to speaker view, and I'm going to go ahead and raise your hands, ladies. Whoever wants to speak about your own excerpt into the book and what you see people taking away from that, and because I know that all of you have poured your soul into it, right? Sometimes people might be like, It's a chapter of a book. They move people. Chapters of books move people. Books, for me specifically, books have moved me more than anything else ever. It is always a book. And if you're reading somebody else's story, somebody else's thing that they have gone through, and you can align with what somebody else has gone through and realize that maybe you can make it through that also. Maybe that same success can happen to you because now you see it and it's modeled to you. And so therefore it becomes accessible. Well, if she can do it, I can do it. You guys, we live in a if she can do it, I can do it world. And so the more of us need to be sharing our story like this. But I've given, they've all got their hands up. Okay, here we go. I was just giving y'all time and I looked down, I'm like, there they all are. Okay, so first we're gonna start off with Debbie. Go ahead and say, I'm gonna put your hand down. Go ahead and say your name and then share about your chapter and what you shared into the book, okay?
Okay, unmuting now. Hey, yeah, so I'm Debbie Rothy. My book chapter was all about something that started, well, it was about almost 16 years ago when I was pregnant with my first daughter, and I had made the decision that I wanted to go back and pursue an advanced degree. I wanted to get my PhD in material science. And so doing that, I was working full-time in corporate America. I'm still working full-time in corporate America. And I was pregnant, and all of the self-doubt around people taking me seriously, are they going to think this is a good thing to do? And I went to some mentors and some trusted friends, and it was a mixed reaction. I had some people saying, oh, you should definitely do it. And I had some people just laugh in my face. And recently I've learned that if people aren't laughing in your face when you tell them your dreams, it's not big enough. And so in hindsight, I'm like, that was totally the right dream for me. And so writing the chapter was amazing. And I shared it with my husband, and he says, wow, remembering all of this with, I had 2 daughters throughout the whole thing. And it was just amazing. And in my dissertation, I wrote the dedication to my family. Of course, I wrote to my daughters, and I wrote, relentlessly pursue your dreams with all your heart. And then I went on to clean water because it was all about membranes for cleaning up water. And so for me, it's just was so freeing to write it down after so long and to have it to share, to inspire other moms. Don't limit yourself. Anything is possible. And it's springboarded into my Limitless and Thriving training that I have for women, which is to show, no, you are limitless and you can thrive in life. Don't let anyone tell you can't. So that's what, it's just been awesome. And this community's been awesome in connecting with Megan and everyone else. So really grateful for this.
I love it. Oh my goodness. I mean, are you guys already just like, oh, this is about to be freaking good? That's amazing, Debbie. And I love that you were talking about clean water too. I love that that was an important thing to you as well. I mean, right? Totally and absolutely. Awesome. And then next we have Angela. Go ahead and share what you have added to the book.
Hello. I had a little bit of a snapshot of traumas that I've been through in my life. And it was to show people that it doesn't matter how deep the river seems to be. Sometimes with the right tools, you can use your scars as stepping stones to going from just kind of swimming around in a circle and living every day, just surviving, to really thriving. And that was super important for me because I spent way too many years being held back in my personal and professional life by the effects of the trauma, whether it be lack of confidence, didn't know my self-worth, and I would second guess a lot of things. And when I found the tools, and of course you, to help find me or find my inner worth, it was just so relieving to me. And I put it all together in the chapter to just show people to never give up, because honestly, when you get out of the big waves that are thrashing through your life, it can be amazing. It can be truly amazing.
I love that, Angela. Can you also she's got the book behind her, guys. Can you just grab the book? What a great product placement. Man, there it is, y'all. There it is. Truth About Success. Megan, remind me, what is the URL for that?
That is a great question.
You can look it up on Amazon too.
Yes, it is on Amazon. And also, if you go to my website, which is meganlarson.com, then you can find it there as well. But it is on Amazon in paperback. And let me show the book also. Yeah, paperback and ebook. So yay.
Awesome.
I feel like Vanna White.
I know. It's like this and yeah, it's the weird petting of things, of inanimate objects. Oh my gosh, awesome. All right, Carolyn, let me go ahead and lower your hand for you. Let's hear what your addition was to the book.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Sauer, and I really wanted to do this collaboration because I have really admired a lot of the women that were going to be a part of it. And so just the opportunity to work alongside these amazing women, I didn't want to just let that opportunity pass me by. But when I reached out to Megan and said, I'm interested, I like how you mentioned earlier, you're like, sometimes success looks different than what you think it's going to look like. Because I reached out to Megan and I was like, I would love to do this, but I don't know what I've been successful at. And it's amazing how different people view you differently than you view yourself. Because Megan, being the sweetheart that she is, she's like, seriously? And like listed like 10 things just off the bat. And so it was really great. And so what we did just to kind of get more themes in the book, my chapter is about my 5th pregnancy. I actually have 6 children. But it's about my 5th pregnancy that was a high-risk pregnancy. And kind of my thought process behind writing that is just how you show up when things can get hard and you don't know what the future is going to look like. And to just be as grateful for the good things to get you through the hard times, and just kind of how you can get yourself through those hard times and your family. Because I mean, if what the doctors were saying was going to be, it would have affected all of us, my other 4 children that were already at home. And so it was just about kind of just, leaning in on faith and knowing that God was going to be with us no matter what the outcome. And, just stepping out in faith and kind of putting your flag down and saying, this is what I believe, these are my convictions, and I accept the consequences that come with these decisions. And so that's my chapter in the book.
Man, this is what I believe, and these are the consequences, and I accept the consequences based on what I believe. You guys, how many times are we scared to death about something that's happening in our life and we don't surrender it to our Creator? And where that's all that really needs to happen, where it's just where we need to back up off of it and we need to say, like, all right, this is yours, right? To me, I surrender my fears and I also surrender my victories, right? Everything goes to the feet. And so like, that's anytime I get in my head, like yesterday, my hearing went weird and I was like, oh my gosh, am I losing my hearing? Oh my gosh, what's that going to mean? Bah, 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 bah. My whole mind just spun out. And then I was like, I just surrendered it immediately. I was like, you know what? All right. Well, if I can't hear, I can't hear. But something's going to be, there will be a way made. Something will happen. This is happening for some reason, X, Y, and Z, whatever. And maybe it's just happening to see if I'm going to surrender it again. Right. And woke up this morning, hearing is totally fine. So like, we always, I know that's a very micro, and some people might be like under some really serious things. And they're like, Martha, that's a little bit arbitrary. Right. And I get that. I totally get that. But I've also surrendered very large things as well. So I love that you mentioned that. It's such a massive part of our life and a massive part of our success. Because the longer that we try to spin the flywheel on our own, the longer that we're trying to continue putting an effort of trying to figure something out with our heads, it's just deferring our success, quite frankly, because any success that we're going to get from here isn't as good as the success that we're going to get when we surrender, and may not be sustainable. But I appreciate that. That's awesome, Carolyn. Greta, I'm going to lower your hand, lady. Let us know about your chapter. Is everybody else that's in line with your hand up, are you all kind of like, is your heart fluttering a little bit? Are you starting to go like, ugh? I understand that. You guys are doing awesome though. This is fun. Go ahead, Greta.
Hi. So my chapter was about changing my own mindset to gain more peaceful, balanced life. I started off saying technically that through my upbringing and everything else, I was addicted to stress. And as much as this is kind of like a weird thing to say, I was always under the oppression that if you're not stressed, you're not productive. And that was pretty much my whole life. I lived in high stress and chaotic life. As much as a lot of people that know me, they're like, no, you didn't. It actually was. So I would seek out a lot of drama and stress, and even in my work, I was a teacher for kids with special needs. And it was rewarding, but I would take it all home and take it all to heart and would internalize everything, which in the end put me in a position where I hit my rock bottom. So my chapter is pretty much like the success of me coming out of that. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel for a while. So the fact that I finally put my mind to it and said, either I go down or I go up. And I decided to crawl out of the dark hole and implement things in my life that I always preached about, but didn't really actually do them, which was weird. But we all know what we have to do. It's just sometimes it's harder to implement them than teach people about it. So that's pretty much my journey, is how I resigned from my full-time position, decided to go and follow my passion and offer my services to women that are going through the same stuff, right? Sometimes we just keep going and we don't see how much stress and all that chaos is doing to us internally. So that's it.
Amen to that. Stress and chaos. And the scary part is when we get used to it, or like what you said, Greta, like you were kind of addicted to it, right? Because when you don't have it, then it becomes that normal that you're used to, because you know what that's like. As uncomfortable as it is, this is like for everybody. I hope y'all are listening. As uncomfortable as it is, it's what you know. And so anything else, even a lack of that, even peace, seems scary because you don't know what that's like. You don't know what living in that space is like. It's a contrast, right? And also, Greta, can I say, I'd like to live in that room that you're in right now. I love like the background, all of that. I almost feel like, and I know it's not a fake background. I see you in it all the time.
No,
I know it's not a fake
it's all me.
Right. It's beautiful. That macrame.
I mean, all of that represents me. And that's kind of how I got through my stress, is through just being creative. That was pretty much how I coped for a lot of years. So
yeah,
that's me.
It's beautiful. It's
Thank
beautiful. You. I can tell you love it.
Wow.
Let's see. Oh, I almost muted myself. That wouldn't have been helpful. Oh, it's Toby. We got Toby Tope. I'm going to go ahead and lower your hand. I don't think I've ever said that before. I'm going to go ahead and lower your hand. Toby, go ahead and let us know what your addition to the book is, and what you expect people to, there's the dog, to take from it.
Pax, stop.
Oh, Toby, you're muted.
Okay.
There we go.
Hey, the dog started barking as soon as you called my name. So hopefully he'll be quiet now. Hi, everybody. So I'm Toby. I was so excited to be a part of this. My chapter is about my challenge raising teens and young adults. I have three, 21, 18, and 14 now. And really for the last 10 years, I've been living in what I call, I really like, I'm perfect, the perfect person to go after Greta in this cycle of chaos and crisis. And I really just, it's like I didn't know how to not be under stress. And I didn't realize until years later that I was having a trauma response to things like my phone pinging me, because I was so on edge. And so my chapter was a lot about how I pivoted, how I hit rock bottom, and I pivoted and found my way to myself, to reclaiming my life and my passion and creativity, because I had really just let everything go. I was just sort of getting through each day and in survival mode. And my body was breaking down. Everything was a mess. And I found my way back. And that's not to say like the journey is far from over. It's not to say that things are perfect. I still have teenagers and young adults and all the other stresses of life. So it's all still there, but the process of learning how to manage it has been magnificent. And finding the space to turn around and help other women became really, really important to me. The mission of helping people understand what it is that occurs with teens and young adults in terms of their executive functioning and their mental health, and how we as like parents and educators and other adults in their lives can best support them and their relationships. And that's just become such a passion. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I've got my Resilient AF Midlife Mamas crew, and yeah, lots of exciting things happening. It's great to be a part of this.
Oh, I love it. I love it. How nice is it for people that are watching right now? I imagine that there are some of you that are just like, this is refreshing. Like, isn't it just so refreshing to have people be real and honest about themselves and their lives, and not to put on some sort of front like, I got all my stuff together, right? And then you walk out of the room and yell at your whole family and whatever, chaos ensues. It's not like, let's normalize being real and being human. And yeah, we have to go through some stuff. And yeah, we got to process some stuff. And yeah, maybe not everything's easy, but hey, we're getting better every day. And that's all that any of us are trying to do. Get better every day, right? So I love this, Toby. That's fantastic. Also, I love your background. There is a thing that I think that everybody that's watching this needs to know and understand, and maybe even write down. This book has 12 #1 new release spots and 3 #1 bestseller spots. This book that we're talking about. So can I just say, I'm pretty sure that everybody loves it. I'm pretty sure everybody's ready for some truth. I'm pretty sure that everybody is ready for us to just be honest about what life is about, because that's all anybody is craving. That's all we're craving. If they want fantasy, they'll go to the fantasy section. That's not what this is for. This is for reality, okay? And what success can look like to people. So Rachel, you are next. I'm going to put your hand down. Let us know what your chapter is about.
Hi, Martha. Hi, Megan. I'm driving home, so I'll pull over in a second where I'm safe. But I just wanted to say thank you for letting me be a part of this. I feel beyond blessed. Whoop, here I am pulling over. Hey, it's live. It's what we do, right?
I love it. Here I am pulling
here
over.
I am. So I just want to say that my contribution to this book really was life-changing for me. Being a part of you, Martha, and especially Megan, giving me that leap of faith in myself. And so I cannot thank you guys enough for helping me do that, because it really meant the world to me. But my chapter in the book, my contribution was about raising 5 daughters. Pretty funny title without, with one bathroom. So it's mostly about patience and kindness. Everybody says laughter is contagious. In my life and how I practice every day and what I want to leave for my children I want them to be patient with everyone and to show kindness to everyone. And so that is where I would like to be. And I wanted to, what do we want to leave for our kids? And that's what I want. I want them to be humble, and I want them to be able to be kind to that stranger or lift somebody up. And that's what you guys did for me, and you gave me a chance. And I'm just going to keep that ripple going, just that ripple effect. So thank you so much. And I love everybody. I love meeting all the women here. It was just being part of them, everybody. I've made such great new friends.
This is awesome. Thank you, Rachel. There's nothing better than teaching our kids how to do this stuff, you guys. Nothing better in the world. That's literally how you change the world. You change future generations, you model behavior to future generations, and there it is. It's not, there's no mad science in it. It's really just all of us being better people in front of other people, right? Like that's, I love it. That's awesome, Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha.
Yeah. And Rachel Kuhn, now I'm going to lower your hand.
Hello there.
Hello.
So my chapter was about reinventing yourself. I'm a hospice nurse, and after working in that job for several years, I got to a place where you're constantly faced with your own mortality, and if you're really living the life that you should be living. And so I really got to a place that I felt very stuck. And even though my job was very meaningful and purposeful and rewarding, I realized I was living a life that I was not really living. And that wasn't on my list of things to do. And so I decided, after listening to you and Megan and really the whole group, just the inspiration, and decided I had to reinvent myself. I needed to do something different. And my goal is hopefully to empower other people to realize that you're only as stuck as you think you are. You can get yourself out of situations by just designing a new plan for yourself, and you are capable of doing anything that you want to. So I decided, instead of serving just one-on-one, that I would write a book. And I was actually in the middle of writing that book when Megan put out this collaboration. And my thing was kind of a twofold story. I wanted to share my hospice story, but I also wanted to share that people can change and not to identify with themselves. So at any rate, I put out a book. Actually, today it went live, and hoping that I can change other lives, many lives, as you always say, rather than just one-on-one.
That's awesome. Yeah, one to many that's the name of the game. One to many. That's what people like to complain about the internet, and that's fine. I see it as a tool for us to be able to change the world one to many, because in my house, which is where I am most of the time, I'm not going to lie, there's only there's 2 people here, and they know me really well, but I'm able to go online and I'm able to change the world one to many. I'm able to talk to everybody in their own home, wherever they are. That's the thing that the internet has done for us. So we need to be able to turn it around and use it for good, instead of allowing for it to be used negatively and then act like that's its own thing, right? Like that's the only purpose of it. We can change that, right? So awesome. Thank you. And Lashonda, I am going to lower your hand. Go right ahead.
Awesome. Thank you, Martha. My chapter in the book was the truth about success as a single parent. I went from being a single parent years ago with my oldest daughter and just kind of coping to survive and struggling with my boulder, and then started figuring out how to grow and push it uphill. And then I figured out how to get it to roll downhill, and started experiencing a lot of success in my personal life and my professional life. I'm now married with more children with one of my great high school friends. that is now my husband of more than a decade. And so I shared how I made that transition in my life. And now I help all kinds of women doing all of the things alone, whether they're single moms, widows, military wives, or wives like mine now. My husband travels a vast majority of the year on business. And so I still do a lot of those things alone. And so I help women who are in that place. And we just talk about going from overwhelmed to overcome and what that looks like for parenting or faith or doing things around the home, learning how to trust again after maybe you have had a time where you felt like you couldn't trust anymore. And also how to go after your dreams fearlessly and pursue them without the timidity of worrying about failure. Understanding that that's just a part of the process, not something to shy away from. And so my chapter, Truth About Success as a Single Mom, is just how did I accomplish that?
I love that. There's so many single moms out there that are just seeking refuge with other single moms that so they can understand that they're not alone, right? So that's an amazing chapter. Amazing. I love that. I'm going to keep moving because we have lots of hands up, and we're just going to keep rolling through here. Jill, I see you got your hand up here. Let me lower your hand. You have at it, ma'am.
Hey, I haven't stopped smiling. I just have to tell you all. And my watery eyes the whole time. I can really relate to a piece of each of these stories. And I think that's what's so wonderful, Martha, that you said, this is really relatable. It's really real.
Yes.
My chapter, a few of you have talked about, I am a single mom, right? Megan talked right at the beginning about being able to now spend time with her children. I know, Martha, you've talked a lot about when you were in that cubicle, right? So my story, my little glimpse into a little piece of life, right, is escaping that Groundhog Day life in the corporate world, taking that leap of faith on myself after a lot of healing and a lot of, mindset work, right? And now successfully integrating my children with my business that I'm now doing myself. So, it's no longer, oh, wait, sometimes it is, like right now, mom has to work, so the 7-year-old's not crawling on me, right? But a huge piece of what lights me up is that I am including my kids, and we're talking about business stuff that they don't learn in school. And they're a part of my everyday. And I just got the chills. They are a part of my every single day, right? Whether it be my regular rituals and things that I do at home, and, the chores are still not their priority. But, doing that stuff, but then also the business side, so that I am spending more time with them, but they're also learning. It's tough as a single mom, right? Managing it all, that's trying to follow her dreams, right? I haven't reached the success that I will at some point. I haven't reached it yet. But if we define success only in actually reaching our goals, right? This big goal, and we don't think about all these successes along the way, spending all this awesome time with my kids every day, right? So this has been a life-changing experience, like it's been mentioned before. Just writing this one chapter has lit something up in me, and I'm like, what? I am proud of myself. This is a success, right? And I feel like every single one of you is the same, and everyone in the world, anyone that watches this, you have all sorts of success in your life. You just got to take a moment to realize it, right? So thank you, everyone.
That's fantastic. Jill, that's great. That's awesome. When you got chills, I got chills too. Whoops, thing fell off, whatever. So the thing that people don't, I think, here's a truth about success, is that the ceiling that you're looking at as success, here, this is the thing that means I'm going to be successful. So if I'm a this or if I'm a that or whatever, whenever you get that, it should become your floor, right? So the success is never, the minute you hit it, it goes beneath you. The minute you hit it, it goes beneath you. And then you're looking at another one and you're looking at another one. So here's the thing, is the people that you see hurtling towards success after success after success are doing it because of what Jill just said. Because they see the fact that they brought their sea-doo back from the lake as a success. My sea-doo started floating away in the lake today. But that was a success, right? They see like all of the little tiny things that happen as like, oh, that's so good. That's so good. My hearing came back today. Man, am I glad about that. It's not just one thing. Because the one thing, if we get so enamored and so like single focused on this one thing, it takes us over. And we don't end up, we end up in here instead of in here. In here is where we see all of the successes and we feel all of the successes. When your daughter gives you a hug because you're not too busy, right? Whenever you can say, yeah, I can go color with you, baby, right? Like after this, she's like, can we snuggle with Koala? Yes, let's go snuggle with Koala, right? But she knows right now, mommy's up here with other mommies, right? Like she knows that. And that's success, right? We need to frame what success means to us. If you haven't caught anything so far, which would be like, you need to be listening, because if you haven't caught anything, you're not listening. So there's that. But if you haven't, for whatever reason, you need to understand that you need to call success whatever you're going to call it in your life today, right now, and live in that space, because you're already successful. You're already successful. Okay. I'm going to move on to Faye. I'm so sorry I keep talking in between them. We're going to keep going. And Faye, I'm going to lower your hand and then I'm muting myself.
Okay, thanks so much. I first want to say how excited I am to be a part of this group also. And through the process of just giving my chapter and talking with some of the other authors, I've learned quite a bit about myself also. And what I decided to do, and my chapter is about the bully within. And it is something that I struggled with, and quite honestly still struggle with sometimes. But now I know and have tools to help me, and I catch myself. But basically, we really have to know who we are in order to know where we're going and in order to get there. And I would encourage everyone to just take some time and see where you are, because you can't get to where you're going until you know that. And for me, I decided at 200 pounds that I was going to run a half marathon. And I still get like a little pit in my stomach when I think about, doing the online registration. And yet in that process, it allowed me to see that I could follow through with something, and it was major, like it was a big deal. And that, I think, is truly what success is all about, is, making sure that you follow through. And again, I think the next step always has to be, who are you going to help? Because if we're not helping other people get away from where they are to where they need to go, why are we doing it? So I'm really happy to be a part of this.
That's fantastic. Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
In talking about your story of even the online registration, like that's the thinking like, oh my gosh, this is real. I'm doing this. I'm committing, right? That's the moment of commitment. Yeah. That's that moment of flag in the ground saying I'm doing this thing. And then all of a sudden, the things start swirling around you, right? All the ingredients to the perfect way to make this thing happen in your world, right? That's awesome. Very, very cool. Joe, I am going to lower your hand and mute myself.
Awesome. It's kind of neat that you just talked about planting your flag in the ground, and that's actually how I start my chapter. My chapter is about the truth about success in health. And for me, I was diagnosed with 4 autoimmune conditions: complex regional pain syndrome, hypothyroidism, systemic lupus, and mixed connective tissue disease over the period of several years. And then I also ended up with skin cancer at one point. So my health was in a downward spiral for several years. And the flag, I was on lots of prescriptions and I had tons of side effects, and it was quite a miserable time in my life. And I eventually decided that no one had as much at stake in my health and my outcome as I did. And I planted that flag and I told my doctor that I was going to make myself better. And I know he didn't believe me, and that's how I start my chapter. But I did. I have now recovered, and I've been off all prescription medications for over 4 years. And I'm thriving, I'm high vibing, and living the life of my dreams. So my part of what I said to you in the chapter is that it's up to us. We need to take responsibility for ourselves, for our lives, for our health, and do the work. No one's going to do the work for us, and it's up to us. And we really do have the most at stake for ourselves. So that's me in a nutshell.
Oh man, I love that. Anybody with autoimmune stuff, I mean, that's most of the world these days, whether they realize that they do or not. A lot of people just think they're tired. You might need to get some things checked out, because we live in an environment that is conducive to flipping switches into autoimmune places. I'm just going to say that. I'm not a doctor. I just Google a lot. So it's just something I know. Joe, that's awesome. Very, very cool. So, I mean, I'm so happy for you to have gone through all of those things and now be out on the other side, showing other people how to get better themselves. There's no better blessing in the world.
And that's my goal, is to help thousands of other autoimmune warriors take their health back, because it's just so you can live your best life after that.
Absolutely. And then they can show other people. I mean, it's just, there's our ripple. There's that ripple again. Awesome. Cool. I am going to bring on Debbie. I'm going to lower your hand, and then I'm going to mute myself.
Hi. My chapter was about my health journey with me. I had all of my pregnancies were pretty traumatic. And I have a daughter who is chronically ill. She suffers from just a lot, and just kind of my hope in writing was to help empower moms to have a louder voice in their health and their children's health. And someone else had mentioned it earlier too. And just doing what you feel in your gut, and not worrying about, in this case, not worrying about what others think, because there's a lot of pressure from the medical world to do exactly what they say, how they say to do it. And if you go against it, they don't like that. So I just really hope that, after reading a little bit of my story with my daughter, that parents out there who have a child like mine just really take just a louder voice with anyone and everyone who will listen.
Oh, I love that. The advocacy, amazing. Yes. The strength, the confidence in advocacy. Thank you, Debbie. We're just going to keep cranking, because I want to make sure everybody gets to talk before we end here. So I'm just going to keep going. Jenna, you are up. I am going to lower your hand.
Hello. Well, I am Jenna Herrig, and my chapter, I'm probably going to be the first girl on here to cry, but my chapter was all about finding success through my emotional healing journey during our infertility journey. And it's really just about how I healed from that time and how I help women now through that. And in the chapter, I talk about just finding simple things to be grateful for in the moment, even when you're hurting.
Wow. That's necessary. I went through that journey as well. I understand exactly I understand what's happening on your face right now. And I love you, and I'm so sorry about all the things that happened. But I'm so proud of you for reaching back to be able to serve the women that nobody speaks about, to serve the pain that nobody speaks about. People that get uncomfortable about this conversation, and they get uncomfortable because it's a weak spot. It's a big weak spot. People are like, well, I don't want to bring that up. I don't want to. We need to shine a light on people's weak spots and say, hey, I love you. Let's work through, let's talk about this. Grieve, for the love, grieve, right? Instead of feeling like you have to hold it in because you don't want to make somebody else uncomfortable, right? Man, you are a blessing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Lynn, I'm going to lower your hand and you are next.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Martha, and thank you to Megan for this wonderful opportunity to be involved with this group. So I just wanted to hold up the book again. So Truth About Success, my chapter is number 15, and it's about the truth about success after many failures. So my story, my chapter starts when I was 11, which was 45 years ago. And I had a kind of a traumatic experience in my family, and I decided at that time that I was going to be doing things in my life. And so the chapter is about actually one of my biggest failures. I had a bunch of little ones, but I had a really big one. And I just wanted people to understand and be okay with the fact that it's okay if you failed at something. It's okay if you failed, and it's okay if you say that you failed. So I failed big, I failed little, and a little bit medium failing as well. But I still going, and I found HBR. I'm so thankful. So thank you, Martha, for putting forth the HBR group. I've grown so much since last July. And so in the fall, I decided to write a book about parenting from a nanny perspective, which is my profession. And I would say a couple months before Megan announced that she was going to be putting a group together in a momentum call, Martha, you challenged me. I said I was going to write a book, and you challenged me to say that I need to change my bio to say that I was an author and a speaker. And I did it the very next day. And so that was, I want to say, January or February. And then right after that, I did that. Megan announced that she was going to do a book collaboration. So I just get chills thinking about it. So that was like, I was like, you know what? This is really good timing. I have to do this now. So I just said yes. And I'm so thankful that I did. And so my chapter is really about inspiring my children, other, their friends, and just inspiring women and men as well. But my heart is really towards women. And my mom was a single parent, or a single mother raising 3 children, and I was the oldest. And so I know what it's like to be in a family unit with that. And so that was really is a big drive that I have, and passion that I have, is to keep moving forward. I think stems originally from that experience and what happened when I was age 11. So thank you, everyone. And I really hope that we all can just keep moving forward with reaching back, teaching younger generations. And so anyway, thank you. And I appreciate you guys so much.
Oh man, thank you. How cool is that? You put author on your bio, and the next day there was an opportunity to be an author. Go figure. How fun is that? Also, Lynn, like, I want you to do voiceover work for children's books. Like, I need for you to do that in life at some point, or just voiceover emails that come to me, maybe just read my emails to me, because I love your voice.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Natalie.
Yeah. Lauren, I am going to lower your hand and mute myself.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Martha, and thank you everyone for having us. People who know me would notice that this voice is different. I was lucky enough to get laryngitis over the weekend, and so I'm just trying out some new vocal cords for the next couple of days until mine come back. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and to Megan and everyone else for participating in this project. I wrote my chapter. I was going to write my chapter on boundaries, but then when I saw the title of the collaboration, I just thought to myself, man, like, one of the best boundaries that I've ever put in my life was to define success for myself and to draw a giant circle around myself and to build a huge wall around me, and what I believed success was versus what everyone else around me tells me success is. And I share quite an emotional moment in my life in my early 20s when I achieved something really significant, at least to myself, and nearly killed myself doing it, to be honest. The amount of stress that I put myself under, and to have the person that I wanted more than anything in the world to look at me and go, well done, you did great. But instead that person turned around and said, oh, that's still not good enough. And that moment in my life really was a turning point in a really good way for me to realize that, man, I am basically shooting goals, like in terms of playing soccer, I guess, and I'm aiming at someone else's goalposts the entire time. And then they keep moving them all the time. And I'm running myself across this field in this game of life, going crazy, trying to score goals for someone else. And they don't even notice. They move the goalposts all the time. And I'm exhausted. And so that really, I'm glad it happened. And I'm glad it happened to me so young, because I've been able to define for myself what success is and how I want to live my life, so that I can look back and define it for myself as successful, and to stand before God in terms of my faith worldview and go, I did not spend my life chasing something that someone else told me to chase, but between you and me, I've worked really hard to be the person that I believe you've created me to be. And so it was a pleasure to share the story. It was a pleasure to work with Megan, as always, and a real joy to get to read and get to know all these other women's incredible stories. So thank you so much.
Oh, man. I don't know if you know about Lauren, but man, she can create a visual. You are so good. She's not like anybody. She's Lauren. And I love the visual on the moving the goalposts, because how many of us have had that happen? How many of us have been trying to score goals that, maybe our parents thought we should be scoring, or a teacher, or an employer, or somebody else in your life that means a lot to you, or their opinion means a lot to you, right? And you're like, I think this is what they want. I'm going to do this and I'm going to be awesome. And then you do it and like, they don't give a rip at all. And you're like, I thought that's what they would have cared about, right? And then you go try to do something else and then they still don't give a rip. At what point do you choose your own goalpost, right? Like that's brilliant. I love that, Lauren. Man, you're so good. You're so good. Natalie, I am going to lower your hand and you are up. Lady.
Hey guys. First, can I say thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. And you guys are so amazing. And it's really cool to get to hear all of these women talk about their story in their own voice versus reading it, it just really brings that like personal touch to each and every story. And I'm really excited to go back and reread the stories after like hearing you guys all talk about it. So my chapter in The Truth About Success is about losing my mom when I was 14. She had cancer and she passed away. And for years, I pushed down that grief and shame that I felt from losing her. And honestly, that unprocessed grief, like just about tore my entire life apart, from my marriage to my parenting to even my job. I like literally couldn't function. And so it came to a head when, after I became a mother, and just the anxiety and the panic attacks became too much to even handle, that I finally started to seek help and really work through that grief. And so my chapter is about that, and how that unprocessed grief almost destroyed my life, and how working through it just, I mean, it's still like a constant battle. And that was really something that I learned through healing, is it's not just like a one and done thing. It's going to be a constant, like, new chapters of your life bring up new triggers, and you have to work through that. So it's about like sharing that with others, and but also sharing that hope of like, it is scary to like face that grief, but it's possible, and it's so worth it to find that freedom from all of that pain. So that's what I do now, is I hope to inspire others to work through their grief.
Oh my word, I love that. Yeah. I hope you guys are realizing that as we're going through this, we're seeing a lot of humans in front of you that are doing things that not everybody would do. Working within pain and trauma, like not everybody would do. But they're doing it to be able to bring healing and understanding to the world, and healing to the people that are going through that trauma and through that pain, so they don't have to have this long time that they have to go through it, maybe forever. Instead, shorten that curve so they don't have to go through it as long. They don't have to feel as awful, I guess, as long, and they can process it through. That's what, not everybody signs up to do that. Angels sign up to do that. It's not an everybody thing. That's a people that are called to do it thing. Okay? So understand that the women that you're seeing in front of you right now on this video, full on angels, full on. Okay? That I need for that to be stated. Thank you, Natalie. And Anna, you are next. I'm going to lower your hand.
Hello, hey, you guys. I'm Anna Stager, and this month, May, will be married to my husband 22 years, and we found ourselves at a place after years of infertility and a long adoption process, and then we found ourselves in special needs parenting, and we were super thrilled and excited, but we were exhausted, and honestly, in a lot of ways, we were in over our heads. And I remember one moment we were sitting across the table from each other, and we didn't know how to communicate our needs and ask for it in this new situation. And we had the choice. We could either move closer and become stronger, or we could move apart. And no matter who you are, if you're married, you're going to experience challenges and struggle. And so that's what I chose to write about in my chapter. And just that season, and how I chose literally and emotionally to move my chair from sitting across the table from my husband, believing that we were on two different teams and I was opposing him, to bringing my chair onto the other side and sitting next to him and viewing our marriage as a team and living and talking and acting like a team. And so that's my heart, is to encourage and equip people in their marriages to be real and honest and to choose a perspective of team. And so that's what we're doing. We're inviting couples to join us to live out their marriage as a team. It's possible, and we want you to experience the joy and the thriving life that we have experienced.
I love that. You know, I love that. And I'm so sorry, your name is Anna.
It's
and
okay.
I was like, here's Anna. And you're like, hi, I'm Anna.
There's no way to know.
But I'm sorry. But I know now, and forever and ever, amen, until I forget. But I won't, I'm not going to forget. So what I love about what you just said was about teaming up with your spouse, about being on the same team, how you went from, and I love the visual, you guys are killing it with the visuals, with the sitting across the table and then moving around to actually being on the same side of the table and on the same team. That's what we call ourselves, me, Mike, and Nora. We call ourselves Team Krejci. Like it's a team. Everything is a team activity, right? But it's so cool to be able to be on the same team as your spouse, because I also know what it's like to be on the opposing side as well, right? I think we all do. And it's so cool to actually be focused in a world that's focused on shortcomings, in a world that's focused on what people have done to us and why we should be so upset with them and da-da-da-da. Instead, change the narrative and focus on what you're doing together instead, and see how things change, right? Like, that's just awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And okay, is it Rosella? Rose here. I'm gonna let you.
No, that's perfect, Martha. Rosella is correct.
Boom, crushing it. I'm crushing life. Okay, well, you tell us, what is your chapter about?
Thank you, Martha, for this opportunity. I wrote about losing my husband and finally coming to peace with it 15 years later. But in the process, I found my voice. And I really want to thank Megan for encouraging me to write about it, because it was so hard, but I shared things that I've never, ever told anyone before. And thank you, Megan, for nurturing us all through this process. To me, what's also important is what happened after writing the book, because both writing the book and being in this collaboration have been so pivotal for me. I realized that even in childhood, I never spoke up for myself. So I was seemingly successful in corporate, in my job for over 30 years. And I'm 61 now, and I'm living my best life ever, because I've realized that what I want to do now is help women to express their grief, help them to manage their emotions, talk about it, and to be emotionally resilient adults and role models for the children, because it's the children that suffer when we are not. When we're not balanced and resilient, because that's what happened to me when I was a child. I never had anyone to talk to, and I never had anyone to speak to. So, and my vision is a world where children are safe, protected, and loved. And I want to do that through their mothers. And I'm encouraging, I actually spoke to a friend who's going through cancer. I actually spoke to his 17-year-old the other day, and I said, go and talk to your father and find out about his childhood, find out how he became successful in business. I'm just telling everyone to speak to everyone now, because it's so important to share their feelings. So thank you, Megan. I mean, this has really changed my life.
Oh my gosh. Again, angels on top of angels on top of angels. As you're talking, I was like, you just like glow. I don't know if anybody else is seeing this, but like, I see you and you're just like, there's something that's so strong with you, like where that desire and that passion that you have to keep children safe and to keep them emotionally resilient. Those are the words that you used. Yeah. Emotionally resilient. Those two words put together can change the entire course of human history. That's, I mean, the forward human, not back, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Emotionally resilient children. So they'll be able to withstand the stuff that the world has, but then also understand that there's more, that we're all at our core loving people, like loving be like, and to be resilient enough for like the callous and the other things to be able to withstand all of that, but then to be able to still be soft. Like there's something so incredibly beautiful about that. Thank you so much. You're special. Thank you very much. And Christiana, I'm gonna lower your hand.
Hello.
Myself. Hello. Oh, look at you. You got two
Oh yeah, I got
books
this one
behind you. Yeah.
I got that one. I got them both. I was doing pretty good with not crying until she got to the emotionally resilient children part.
For real, right? Yeah.
That got me. All right. My chapter is about successfully overcoming envy, and that relates way back to probably childhood and emotional resilience and comparisons, the other kids and the other girls, and oh, she's so much smarter, or oh, she did such a good job, but what did you do? So that is a little bit about how that probably morphed and grew as I grew. And okay, well, I'm here, but this person's there, and that person's there. Okay. And then every time I would get up to the next level, well, there's always someone else at the higher level than you. So does it actually matter? Like, does your own success actually matter if there's someone else higher than you? So it's an envy, comparison, jealousy thing. So if me being envious of someone else, which is different from jealousy, envy is when you want something that belongs to someone else that was never even supposed to belong to you, because that's theirs. Jealousy is if it's yours and they take it, different thing. But the envy, because I'm looking at them and I'm looking over there at what they have, I'm ignoring what's been given to me and what I have. So my gifts and my talents and my success that I've been given, I'm over here kind of hating them because they're not theirs. And my gifts and my talents are like, what are you doing? We're right here. So that led to a lot of, and I didn't even know I was envious. So I didn't even know. So there was a lot of emotional repression there and unawareness and not really sure why I'm not happy until I got to the root of where all this stuff came from, these seeds, and I had to rip them out and replace them with gratitude and with thankfulness of who I am and what I've been given, and just celebrating everyone else and all their successes and all their victories and everything they've been given, because that's what they've been given. Awesome. And this is what I've been given. So it's all good. And like what you said about stories being important, like this entire collaboration in this whole talk, this interview, it's been story connecting with story relating to story. And even if you've never been through that story, you can empathize, you can relate, you can get something from it that's going to connect to your own story, and it's gonna make an impact. And it's been so great being a part of this collaboration and this whole interview. And I really want to thank you and Megan and everyone for being a part of it.
Oh man, that's it. You're awesome. First of all, you're awesome. But talking about envy in such a way, right? And like it's because they have their thing, and then you're looking at their thing. You described it like a boss. I'm not going to re-describe it because you did it really well. But to let somebody else shine in their gifts, And then to not disregard your own gifts because you're too busy looking at somebody else shining in their gifts, wishing that you had what they had whenever you really weren't even ever wishing for their gifts. You wish for how they feel inside their gifts. And that's how we feel inside of our gifts if we can look at them, right? Because we don't really wish that we had the things that they had so far as gifts, maybe whatever. And then you get them and you'd be like, I don't really know what to do with this. But what you really wish for is how good they feel, because that's what they're exuding. You're seeing gifts, you're seeing success, whatever. What you really want is what they look like, they feel like. And that is what we can all have the moment that we look inward and see what we're made of, which is what we're hearing all tonight. Thank you, Christiana. That's boss.
Thank you.
Freaking boss. Cynthia, you are next.
Hello. Megan, first of all, I want to thank you for everything. I'm sitting here in my car and it's actually getting really hot in here, so I rolled down the windows, so I hope it doesn't get too loud. But my story of the truth about success is a story of resiliency and rejection with no direction, no solid, consistent leadership in my life. My mom was in and out, an alcoholic, and my mom, I've told my mom about this book. She blesses it. And my father was not always around and left when we were really young. And my purpose in writing the story was to explain how there was event after event after event of something that was big, and every time a new event happens, no matter how big or small, it seems catastrophic when you're going through it. No matter if it's the loss of a child, or getting rejected from the school that you wanted to go to, or being in a bad marriage, which I've been in all of those situations. My purpose of the story is so that everyone can find their inner drive to keep moving past any event that happens in their life, whether big or small. And it's not about getting past a major event. It's about knowing that you can if something happens. And that is the purpose for mine. And it reminds me a lot of my daughter was going down on a hike with a friend, or a couple of friends, just the other day, and she kept running past them saying, I'm first. And when somebody got in front of her, she broke down and cried and said, I'm supposed to be first. And I used that as an opportunity. And the very first thought that came into my mind was you, Martha, and knowing that success is in the eye of the beholder. And I had to explain to her, I was like, look, it's not about being first. You're stopped. You're not going to move anywhere if you're stopped. And she's 5, bless her heart. And she was doing so good. We were a mile into the hike already. But all of this just reminds me that success is what you perceive it as. And if you're perceiving it as what somebody else has, then you are probably never going to feel the true success of what it is that you want. I have a compassion for teaching followers to be good followers, and to teach leaders to be more compassionate. And what's crazy is that I was really, really sick when we had to write this book. It came at some would say a really bad time, but I see it as a very good time. I'm turning red because I'm trying not to cry, but 4 days after we had to turn in our chapter for this book, I found out that we lost our child, and I was 12 weeks pregnant at the time. And it was very, very, very hard and difficult, but I was excited knowing that I could get through it. I was writing a story about getting through events, and it couldn't have came at a better time. And now I can share that story with people afterwards.
Oh my word. That was so good. First of all, I'm sorry for your loss. And it's okay. It's okay to cry. We were talking about that earlier. It's okay. I love what you're teaching your daughter on a hike. I love teachable moments. I love whenever we can just see something happening in our life and be able to turn and say, hey, this is kind of like this. And then for them to, carry that forward, those same teachable moment sorts of things. I love that. And I love that you're teaching her leadership. That's humble leadership is what that is, right? And that's the best leaders are the humble leaders, the leading from behind, right? Making sure that everybody's good as we're leading. But yeah, that's a fantastic chapter. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And then we have Dawn, and I'm going to lower your hand, and it is your turn. I'm going to mute myself.
Thank you, Martha. Well, yeah, my chapter is called The Truth About Successfully Overcoming Overthinking. And so really appropriate for this call, because during this call, I have lost power and internet connection twice. And so trying to get back on. And, in the years past, I would be overthinking everything, right? Like, what will they be thinking about the kitchen cupboards that they see behind me and all these things, but I'm like, no, that's not going to be the thing today. So, but my chapter really is about, when I saw Megan posting this up, I said, I really want to be in that. Number one, because I think it was middle school, as a teenager, I had an English teacher tell me writing is not your forte. And here I am as an entrepreneur writing copy, marketing, all this stuff, and never even considered really, you hear people, you need to write a book. I don't know about what, because that thought was always in the back of my head. And that overthinking came, well, what if it's not good? What if what if I don't know how? All of those things. And so when this came up with Megan, and I just have been watching her journey, I'm like, I want to align with her. And I know the women she's going to bring in are just going to be phenomenal. And so I jumped on board, and she goes, I came in a little late. She goes, well, we only have like so many days. Are you good with that? I'm like, yes, because the less time I have to overthink things, the quicker and easier it is to get it done. So let's go. I work under great deadlines, and that's kind of what I teach my clients is, when you have time to sit around and overthink everything, those lies that we've been telling ourselves or that others have told us for years and years and years, they're deep rooted and they need to be plucked out. But it's hard sometimes because it's hard for you to prune yourself sometimes. And so to have other people surrounding you with that encouragement and that love and support to say, no, you're just overthinking it, my dear. Let's think about it in a different way. Let's create deadlines. Let's get action moving. My motto is a plan without action is a dream deferred. And I am so passionate about helping women entrepreneurs to stop deferring those dreams and get it done, get in action. Let's go, because it's just, the overthinking is just so rampant. I think, I want to say especially in women, but then I got in some groups where some guys are in there, and there's a lot of overthinking with guys too, but my target is women entrepreneurs. So, the overthinking is just not good. And my tragedy that I was involved in, well, not involved in, but that happened to me, was my mom passed away in 2016. And the year before that, I had stepped out into entrepreneurship with a business partner. And when that, I was so excited. And then we found out my mom had a brain tumor. And in 2 months, she was gone. That was it. And the overwhelm, just, I had been confident in my corporate jobs prior to that. But then when you step out into something new, something unknown, foreign, even with a business partner who's really driven and, go get her, but then you're in there going, I don't know about this, what if this, what if that, all the overthinking because of that loss. And you just feel like, I don't even know what I'm capable of anymore. And so that's what I'm passionate about, is helping those women who have either had a tragedy or not, but they just overthink everything. And it's time to stop the overthinking, because those are lies, and bring in the truth. And the truth is that you are meant for success. You are meant for greatness. And that's what my chapter is all about.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love that we ended on the overthinking one. Overthinking is a version of paralysis, right? Like and then the longer it goes, you're strengthening that waiting muscle because you're overthinking and you're like, I'm gonna think about it a little more, I'm gonna see all of the ways that this could go wrong. People look for ways things are gonna go wrong, right? It's like the first thing people look for. How's this going to go wrong? Listen, there's always going to be something that's going to look like it's going to go wrong. There's not one single thing that you're ever going to do where everything is going to be perfectly laid out and nothing could go wrong. So just do it, right? And I love the laying out of the action items and everything. Man, yes. All right. So Megan, do you want to anchor in here? And I know that there may have been some other things that are there. Is there like a workshop? Is there something going on that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so we have a private Facebook group for anyone who has grabbed a copy of the book. And in there, the authors are doing workshops. A bunch have already been done and they are saved in the group. So you can go and watch them and do them and just connect with all of us and be able to get to know us better, jump into our communities on Facebook and stuff like that. It is such a great place. And as you've gotten to know everybody here, you can see that it is really just an amazing group of women who are working together to inspire the world and have just a lasting impact on everyone that we meet and that we talk to. So yeah, it's awesome.
I love it. Well, you guys know what to do. You go to Amazon and you search up The Truth About Success. So search for that. Or you can go to Megan's site, which is meganlarson.com. That's with 2 G's, MEGGANLARSON.com. So go either of those two places and you're able to grab the book. I would even say grab a couple books for some other ladies you know. I would say if you go to church, grab 20 to 50 books and just start handing them out to people. You're going to be blessing people's lives. This is a truth people need to understand. And again, we need to normalize it. And where does it start? Right? It's all of us. So you guys have the best night. Thank you, ladies, for being on here. Let me go ahead and go into gallery view again so we can see all of the peeps. Hey, everybody have the best night and we will see you.